Hey guys, welcome. Let's get into it. The first essential tool you need to bake your cake is an electric mixer. You want to use a mixer because of its speed, power, and its ability to thoroughly mix ingredients, which affects the texture and rise of a cake. It's also an energy saver. Electric mixers can mix ingredients much faster than if you were doing it by hand. The two most common types of electric mixers are hand mixers and stand mixers. They do the exact same thing. The main difference may be the size of the machine and the amount of effort you put in.
This one I have here can be used as either or. I can take it off and use it as a hand mixer, or I can attach it back and use it as a stand mixer. Nothing super fancy, it just gets the job done. Another thing to consider are the attachments that come along with the electric mixer. There are a few. You have beaters, whisk, and dough hooks. The one you see here is a paddle attachment. This one is used for mixing batters and creams. Whisk are good for whipping egg whites, like for meringue or making frosting or whipped cream. Then you have the dough hooks, which you probably guessed right. They're used for kneading bread.
The second essential baking tool is different sized mixing bowls. They allow you to separate ingredients or stages of preparation. Smaller bowls are useful for combining small quantities of products like spices, baking powder, or extracts. Larger bowls are necessary for mixing larger quantities, for example, flour, sugar, and liquids like oil and milk. It ultimately gives you greater control and organization during your baking process.
Have you ever heard that baking is a science? This brings me to the third essential item, which are measuring tools. Whether it's a cup or spoon, it is a vital part of baking. We rely on exact measurements of ingredients. Even small deviations can affect the outcome of the recipe. Also, consistent measurements help ensure that the recipe turns out the same each time it is made, even if you're scaling it or reducing it. Remember, it's better to use spoons for smaller quantities like baking soda or extract. Use cups like this to measure dry ingredients like flour, and cups like this to measure liquid. You also have the option to use a digital scale.
The fourth essential tool you will need is a no-brainer: baking pans. Because after all that hard work, where are you going to put all that cake batter? Baking pans come in various shapes and sizes. You got round, square, rectangular, and specialty pans. Many baking pans are coated with non-stick surfaces, making it easier to remove your cakes without them getting stuck or breaking. They are also designed to conduct heat efficiently and evenly so your baked goods can cook correctly. The shape of your pan influences the final appearance and texture, unless you're completely transforming the cake. Now that you got your delicious cake out of the pan, the fifth essential tool you need is a cake stand. A cake stand elevates the cake, providing a stable and accessible platform for decorating. You are able to frost, pipe, and add decorative elements to all sides of the cake without having to manually move the cake around. Most cake stands come with a rotating feature, allowing you to spin the cake as you decorate. Whether you are just starting out or a professional baker, you will need a cake stand. Okay, the next tool you'll need is my personal favorite, scraper spatulas. The first kind is excellent for exactly what it is used for, scraping. They allow you to get every speck of batter or frosting out of the bowl, preventing waste and guaranteeing a fully incorporated mixture. The second scraper spatula is normally called a bench scraper. I like to use these further along in my decorating process because they provide precision and detail in my styling. Alright, next up, similar to the tool we just seen, but this time it's an offset spatula. They come in various sizes. I stick to the smaller ones because, well, Petit-Kakes. The most attractive thing about this tool is the angled blade. This helps you to work around the edges of the cake more easily and evenly. I typically use this tool earlier on in the decorating process. They're ideal for applying a crumb coat, as well as spreading and smoothing fillings like icing and jams between cake layers for even distribution and preventing unwanted spaces. Get you an offset. You will not regret it. Well, in terms of spatulas. Okay, moving deeper into the decorating phase of cake making, especially once you've become more experienced, the 8th essential tool you will find useful is the piping bag. Using a piping bag to apply icing can give you an advantage. Alright, looking at the bags I have here, is there a difference between the two? I can confirm that there is. The bag on the left is cheaper, and you can somewhat tell because it's flimsier. The material feels much different from the piping bag on the right, even though they are both plastic and disposable. And just because something costs less doesn't mean it won't get the job done. It's all about preference and how you intend to use it. I prefer the piping bag on the right because it's stronger, it cuts better, and I have more confidence in it. If you're absolutely hate plastic, you can use a silicone piping bag. In the end, they're better for the planet because you can reuse them how many times you like, and they have similar qualities to the piping bag in the middle. So if you're using piping bags, you must be using decorating tips as well. Am I right? They help create amazing designs, effects, and textures. This is where the heart of creativity really beats. They make each cake unique and tailored to specific themes or occasions. There's round tips, star tips, leaf tips, petal tips, you name it, as well as different sizes and slightly modified shapes in regard to the tips I've mentioned. In order to use tips correctly, you need couplers. A coupler is a two-part device that allows you to switch out different piping tips without changing the entire piping bag. The first part is the base. This fits inside the piping bag and holds the tip in place. The second part is the ring, which screws until the base, locking the tip in place. And last is the piping bag tie. Its sole function is to help secure and manage the piping bag while you are working with it. This isn't always necessary. Yeah, sometimes, well, just about all the time, I use rubber bands to close up bags because I can never keep up with them. So it's really a preference whether you want to use them or not. I want to say 99% of the time, when you get a decorating set, which I would recommend for anyone just starting out, they include piping bags, a couple of decorating tips, couplers, and ties, so you don't have to purchase them separately. The 9th essential baking tool for cakes is the bread knife. Out of all the knives you have in your kitchen, this is the most valuable when it comes to cakes. The bread knife has a serrated edge that helps with smooth, clean cuts, especially when preparing a cake for layering or stacking. Leveling the cake top guarantees that the cake levels will fit together neatly and that ultimately the final presentation looks straight and professional. Alright, the final essential tool is the cake server. Yes, the cake server. I've included a cake knife as well, but we're going to focus on the server. After baking an exceptional cake, you'll want to serve it effortlessly. This cake server simplifies lifting and transferring slices from the cake board to plates without mess. Suitable for all types of cakes and baked goods, it comes in various sizes and shapes, enhancing the presentation of your creation. It is essential for any baker. This is a bonus tool, the hobby knife. I thought I should include it for the bakers like myself who really love going the extra mile when decorating. I use this tool for getting precise cuts when making my parchment paper stencils. They include extra blades, so whenever the one you're using gets dull, you can easily switch them out and keep working. They work so much better than regular scissors. You can get them from Michael's at any local craft store. Alright folks, if you want to get any additional information about these products, they will be linked in the description below. Thank you for watching. Peace and blessings.